Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Jocks of All Trades podcast. We've talked about it for weeks. We're all really great at procrastinating, so here we are with our live mock draft. We have lots and lots and lots of guests that are going to be coming on, but I'm going to hand over the reins to Kyle. Kyle is our draft wizard, so I'm going to let him be commissioner for the night because he knows way more about all this than I ever will. So have at it, buddy.
You want me to be like Roger Goodell? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2022 Jock Mock NFL Draft.
Woo!
It is official. The number one overall pick is going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And we do have the pick. The pick is in, courtesy to my brother Travis, who did not show up, but that's okay. And the Jacksonville Jaguars know who they're going to pick. And with the first pick in the draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to select Aiden Hutchinson. His reason is he's the best player available. The Jags already franchised Cam Robinson, and they're working on an extension with him, also getting Brandon Scherf in free agency. They definitely need a pass rusher to pair with Josh Allen on the other side. Aiden Hutchinson is the pick. You can see that right here, 6'6", 265. Third in the nation with 14 sacks. One of the best D linemen in this draft, probably in college football. You can make a case for Will Anderson from Alabama as well. But just incredibly tough, incredibly big, really good with his hands, and very quick for a 6'6", 260 guy. Could he be a Joey Bosa kind of guy, a Nick Bosa? Maybe, we'll see. But yeah, what do you guys think of this first overall pick?
It's kind of it feels obvious, like he is the best defensive player in this draft. And if the Jags are somewhat intelligent, I kind of question that with Khan being their GM.
Mm-hmm.
But if he is intelligent, you want to take the best player that's available. Yes, Travis has nailed it. They have already invested a lot in that line. Could you use more? Sure. But that defense is totally awful, and I feel like this is a really, really stud pick for the Jags.
For sure. The Lions are now on the clock.
Well, here in the war room in Detroit, there's a lot of conversation about what we should do with the number 2 pick, because there's a world of possibilities. There are teams right behind us that are quarterback hungry. We're not really quarterback hungry, not this year. We still have Jared Goff. The Texans at number 3, but they wouldn't move up to number 2. The Panthers at 6, the Seahawks at 9. They all could move up, so we could trade down. But I don't think any of the quarterbacks that are currently out there are worth giving up extra picks for just to move up a couple slots. Who I'd really like to have, but I don't think we'll go this way, is offensive lineman Ike Ekwonu. The Lions already have 2 studs on their offensive line, with their center Frank Ragnow and with their other offensive lineman, Penny Sewell. So if you had a third one, their offensive line was ranked 15th last year. They could really be a top 10 offensive line. Give Jared Goff a little more time to stay off his behind and make pass completions, and it would give more lanes to DeAndre Swift. It'd be a good pick. But
you're not going that way.
No, we're not going that way.
Oh.
Because their defensive line was 30 out of 32 last year. It was horrible. And so we got to think upgrade on the defensive line. So we're going to go with the obvious. We'll go with Kayvon Thibodeau.
That's a switcheroo.
Yeah, we're going to have to do it just because that defensive line was so bad. So we'll try to add some depth to the offensive line later on. So we're going to go with Kayvon Thibodeau.
Kayvon Thibodeau. Brad, one of your favorite players for sure. The stigmatism guy. 6'5", about 260. Oregon has produced some pretty good defenders in the NFL. Eric Armstead, DeForest Buckner, great defensive lineman still in the NFL. 50 tackles, 7 sacks in 2021. Probably the consensus number 1 overall pick a few months back. And now he's just kind of dropped. I mean, to number 2, you're not dropping that far, but we've kind of seen his athleticism, his body of work. Probably should make it known that he kind of takes some plays off every once in a while. He doesn't really have the motor that an Aiden Hutchinson does, and that probably kind of cements Hutchinson at number 1. Thibodeau here at number 2. Like you said, the Lions' defensive line is horrible. They invested a lot in defensive tackles last year. Now they're going for an edge rusher, maybe a Dan Campbell kind of guy. I don't know if he's going to be biting at knees like Dan Campbell once, but he's definitely has all the tools in his makeup. It's just, can he deliver on them? Can he get better? And can he not take a play off and really be that aggressive type of defensive end, a cornerstone defensive end for the Lions? That remains to be seen. That being said, the Houston Texans are now on the clock.
Well, with the Houston Texans, like the first 2 teams, they are struggling everywhere. Their offensive line wasn't the best last season. Their defense was awful. And so I think their defense was a lot worse than their offensive line. So I'm going to pick, with the Texans' 3rd overall pick, Kyle Hamilton out of Notre Dame. At 6'4", 220, he's a great playmaker on the defensive side of the ball. He's a ball hawk. He didn't have the best 40 time at the combine, running 4.59. He was a little bit slower than you'd like to see as a safety, but having 8 total career interceptions at Notre Dame, playing only 3 years, he was a do-it-all kind of safety. He could move up to linebacker. He could cover routes. He was just an overall great player that was really utilized at Notre Dame. And I think if the Texans can utilize him in the same way, he could be great to bolster that defense, who's really looking for a spark on the defensive edge. And also, he's a great run kind of defender. So coming up from the safety position, facing the 2 best running backs in the league in his division, with the Tennessee Titans and Derrick Henry, and then the Indianapolis Colts with Jonathan Taylor. He's going to have a lot to put up with, and so he's going to be a great fit for the Houston Texans.
I love it. You kind of explained this to me earlier, so surprised. I kind of knew this might happen. And he asked me, he said, I have 3 players in mind. I could name 2. I couldn't name the 3rd. He came up with this, and I was like, you know what? This is kind of beautiful for the Texans for the exact reasons that they have to stop a lot of guys in that division to be competitive. And, yeah, you could take an O-lineman if you want. You could probably still get away with taking one later since you have now a 2nd pick in the 1st round. But Hamilton, there's just not going to be another safety like him in this draft. That's such a sexy pick. It's not even funny. So I'm proud. I like that one. Nice job, Bryce. So we will move on to number 4. Thanks for hanging with us, Bryce. Enjoy your date. See you tomorrow. So let's move on then to pick number 4, which should be the
New York Jets. Yes, sir. Yeah, Kyle Hamilton was just picked. Pretty good pick for the Texans. Can do it all, like Bryce said. I feel like the Jets definitely are pissed off now because they wanted a Kyle Hamilton type of player. But the Jets are a horrible team. They need to go best player on the board here. So the pick is in for the New York Jets. And with the 4th pick overall in the draft, the New York Jets are going to select Evan Neal, guard/tackle, Alabama. Arguably one of the best players in this draft, maybe the best player. Surprised he wasn't picked with the first 3 picks, but one of the most dominant linemen in all of college football last year, 6'7", 350. He could probably be what Mekhi Becton right now is not. Mekhi Becton is having trouble staying on the field. Doesn't seem like he wants it. Doesn't seem like he wants to be that franchise cornerstone left tackle or right tackle. Evan Neal wants it. He wants it bad. Versatile, road grader, dominant, can start anywhere on the offensive line, probably except for center. And the Jets basically need every position on that offensive line. So I think it's a home run of a pick for the New York Jets, a guy that can open up space for the running game for Michael Carter, and also a guy that can hold down the fort so Zach Wilson can sling it around. So, yeah, Evan Neal, number 4.
I like it. Let's move on to the New York Giants. Do we have our guest?
Probably it's going to take a little bit, but that's okay. Yeah, I think Brad, with the Houston Texans with Kyle Hamilton at number 3. It's just interesting to me because he ran like a 4.5 at the combine, which isn't the greatest. We thought he'd probably run in the 4.3s, in the 4.4, and the 4.5 is interesting to me, but he kind of makes up with it with his intelligence with the game. Like if you go back to all of these college football games, he was running sideline to sideline, not with speed, but just with anticipation. Like he already knows where the ball is going to go. And that's impressive. Like that's something that will translate to the NFL. Because like you can lose your speed, and everybody in the NFL is fast. Everybody is strong. Like, yes, there are some freaks out there that will be stronger than the rest or faster than the rest, but intelligence, knowledge of the game, like that stuff really translates. And it's, yeah, I mean, like Bryce said, with those 2 running backs in division, you're going to need someone who can anticipate those run plays, anticipate play action, and be all over the field. I mean, the Texans do need so much more than just Kyle Hamilton, but he can really, truly make up for a lot of deficiencies on the back end. I guess before the Giants, okay, so he's going to send in his pick, and I'll announce it for him.
In this time of COVID, still, there's still some people who want to put in their picks remotely.
Yeah. It's no problem. No problem at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about Ike Ekwonu? Do you think he'd be a good fit on the New York Jets, Luke?
I think
Or the Giants. Wait, are you talking about the Giants?
If I'm the Giants, that's who I'm taking right now. The man is an absolute monster. I mean, he had 50 pancakes this past year, second team All ACC. He's got great acceleration. So he's violent when it's trying to get blocks out for the run. Well, I think that's what the Giants need, because let's face it, their star still is Saquon Barkley. They need someone who can help him create the holes that he needs. Yeah. And that O-line is still in a terrible strait. Whoever's in the backfield there is going to be running for their life. Yeah. So it's a trend within NFL teams that if you want success, and we're seeing this in teams that are in the bottom of the barrel right now and who are near the top of the heap. I'm looking at you, Cincinnati. You need to better your O-line if you want to succeed.
Yeah, and the Bengals really have tried so far with La'el Collins they signed, Ted Karras, Alex Kappa, maybe besides Collins, maybe not the sexiest of names. They're really trying, and we'll see what they do at the end of this draft. The New York Giants pick is in, though. They have a selection here. With the 5th overall pick, the New York Giants selected Ike Ekwonu, tackle, NC State. His reasoning is, while Daniel Jones has gotten off to less than a stellar start to his career, he gets one more chance to prove himself with Brian Dable. For Jones to have any chance to do that, he's going to need to stay on his feet. Ekwonu is the best O-lineman in this draft. And for all the reasons you said, Luke, it's just it's kind of a home run pick for the Giants. They have been looking for a supremely athletic tackle, a supremely athletic guard, wherever you want to put him, to make way for Saquon, to protect Daniel Jones, to become that cornerstone on their offensive line, because they've had a lot of Band-Aids but no stars on that offensive line. And you can make it far with decent offensive linemen, but like you need a couple goobers in there, like, all-star, all-pro type caliber goobers to really cement yourself. And Icky and Evan Neal are the guys in this draft to do that. Just from an athletic standpoint alone, these are two of the most athletic guys from the tackle or guard position that we've seen in some time. So it's really impressive what they've done in college and at the combine as well. So, home run pick for the New York Giants. I believe the Carolina Panthers are now on the clock.
That they are. And, you could really make a case for a lot of different guys here. They're just hurting for somebody to take command of this team, of this offense, to kind of step up and say, okay, we're tired of losing. We're tired of being mediocre. I'm here and I'm going to do that. And Cam Newton was one of those guys that really hit me kind of that way a long time ago. You could go with an O-lineman here. You could go with some defense here, I would think. But let's be honest. I know what the pick is, and I think this won't shock a lot of people. With Malik Willis, he really, really came on strong as the favorite quarterback, thanks to his Senior Bowl performance, thanks to his combine, which was really good. And just if you look at him also, it's hard to find a dual threat quarterback that actually has that kind of zip on those throws that just really gets it in those tight windows. Malik Willis has that. My only concern with Malik Willis is his decision making. That's all. But you know what? That is trainable, I think. I could be wrong. I feel like that's more trainable than trying to train somebody to hit a tiny window to get the ball into to make a play. And if you want to talk about like that kind of player that the Panthers have kind of needed anyways, someone that's kind of reminiscent of Cam Newton might not be horrible here. Is he the same size? Absolutely not. But he has that similar kind of playmaking of I will do whatever it takes to get something done. And I have to point out his career stats at Liberty. 5,000 passing yards, 47 touchdowns, almost 2,000 rushing yards and 27 touchdowns. Look, it's Liberty. If you can put those kind of stats up at Liberty, that's pretty good. Like, I'll take that. Because how many other of those Liberty guys are going to go on to play in the NFL? Probably them. So the fact that he was able to do what he did with very minimal talent, I think will translate really well when he gets better guys around him.
Yeah. The one thing that I do worry about is whether for the number 6 pick in the draft, whether or not this is a slight reach.
Oh, it will be.
Panthers.
It will be.
Yeah. No, I mean, if I'm them, if Willis is the man you want, that's fine. I would then just recommend maybe trading down, because you might be able to get a bit more bang for your buck trading down, and he probably would still be on the board much later even in the first round.
I agree. I just think they're going to be reachy there because they missed out on Deshaun Watson. They missed out on Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson. They missed out on all the big guys. You have to do something, or he's going to lose. The head coach is going to lose his job at this point because he tried for Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold didn't work. They tried just about everything in the book. They even brought Cam Newton back, and it still didn't work. Like, you have to address quarterback at this point. So you're right. You could probably get him later, but this is just what I think they're going to do at this point, is they're going to be reachy and take a quarterback.
Very fair.
Yeah. With that said, well, I'm sorry, Kyle, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say anything. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Keep on rolling.
Okay. So the Giants are back on the clock, and I think our invisible guest will once again pick who
they are still deliberating. Icky, great pickup for them. Like we said, franchise left tackle. They have a lot of needs, as we know. I mean, defensive line, linebacker, corner, safety. You could even go receiver here because their receivers have been underwhelming. Let's see. The pick is in for the New York Giants. We have a selection. With the 7th overall pick in this draft, the New York Giants have selected George Karlaftis, defensive end, Purdue. His reasoning: the Giants have a decent secondary, but next to zero pass rush. With Hutchinson and Thibodeau off the board, this guy is the next man up. David Ojabo was also under consideration, but after his injury, they're going to go with George Karlaftis, one of the best defensive ends in this draft. Not really a sexy pick, I would say, because I feel like a lot of people find him underwhelming because he doesn't put up the best numbers, or he's not the fastest. Maybe he's not the most athletic type of guy. But let's be honest, what's your job is to rush the quarterback and to set the edge. And George Karlaftis can do both supremely well. 6'4", 275, 14 career sacks, in quotations, not an athlete, but he is. He's just not your most elite athlete. Powerful hands, relentless motor, power rusher, maybe a J.J. Watt type of comp there, but really he is like the edge. We have pass rushers in this draft. We have run stuffers, but he is the edge, the guy that can do both and do both extremely well. And now the Giants have invested in their offensive line and defensive line with two guys that can step in right away and really be all-pro type of talents, I think. It's just, will they get the opportunity, and will the Giants not screw it up? So, fantastic pick, I think. Who is next on the clock? I believe it's the Atlanta Falcons.
It is, and we have a guest for this one. What's up, Matt?
Hey, guys, what's going on?
The surprise pick, the Vikings fan is picking for the Falcons. I love it.
Like with me, I know what Minnesota needs, but, I thought with this, I would just kind of like just go a little different with it. And it's just like, you know what? Let's focus on another team for once. And prior to today, I was solely convinced that, the Falcons are going to take an offensive lineman. But then, the news came through that they're trading Matt Ryan to the Colts. And I thought, okay, well, maybe they'll reach and grab a quarterback. And not even 20 minutes later, I get a notification saying they signed Marcus Mariota. So in my mind, this is a test for Marcus Mariota this year. I think they're going to kind of give him a weapon to use. So with that, and it's kind of a reach pick, but really you look at the speed of this guy, in the slot, so on and so forth. I think they're going to pick Garrett Wilson from Ohio State.
Nice.
I like it.
Boom, boom.
I mean, I'm not that big of an Ohio State fan. I'm more of a Michigan fan.
Oh, boo.
But yeah, I know.
You came on the wrong podcast.
But it's one of those. He's got the speed. He ran. What was it for the 40? Like a 4.37, I think it was. 40 times.
Yeah.
Speed demon.
Like stupid fast. So I think with that, they're going to look for someone, that's a speedster, kind of like the Tyreek Hill type for Marcus Mariota. So, I mean, that's the direction I believe the Falcons will go in. Again, is it a little bit of a reach? Kind of, but I think they can make it work for them.
I think so. I like it. It's spicy, but they need all the help they can get, truthfully.
Oh, absolutely.
So I get it. Thanks for joining us, Matt. I know you're also traveling, so we won't keep you much longer, but thanks so much for hanging out with us, buddy.
Hey, not a problem, guys. Have a good night, and invite me back anytime.
For sure.
Sure. Thanks, man.
Have a good night, guys.
You too.
Yep, you too. Awesome. I love him. All right. So Garrett Wilson, man, that is a good pick, though. I can't really argue with that one. So the Seattle Seahawks are on the clock. Remind me, this is another one where we have an invisible guest.
Yes.
Okay.
He can't make it. So what he said is what the Seahawks will do because Pete Carroll is a moron. He wanted Malik Willis. Malik Willis isn't there. He put Ahmad Gardner there as well and Charles Cross. So what I'm going to do is Malik Willis is off the board. The Seattle Seahawks, the pick is in. We're going to go Ahmad Gardner, cornerback out of Cincinnati. I love this guy so much, probably just because of his name, to be honest, Sauce Gardner. Not allowing one single touchdown this year, I believe, or maybe even his career. I don't know the exact stat, but lanky, tall, long, tough. He ran well. And people will look at the 40. Oh, he didn't run in the 4.3s like these other corners, but a 4.4 with that type of length and strength and knowledge of the game, like that will suffice. That will do. He is a lockdown corner in its finest. He really does remind me a lot of Jalen Ramsey, a little bit of Richard Sherman as well. Like when Sherman came out, I believe he ran like a 4.6, maybe even 4.7 in the combine out of Stanford. And that's horrible, but guess what? He was an all-pro and one of the best corners in the league in his prime. So Ahmad Gardner really has the potential to be one of the best corners in this game. And I think they are just hoping and praying that Ahmad Gardner can keep that streak alive of allowing no touchdowns because we know they're not going to score many with their team. So might as well try to, stop everything. So what do you think of that pick, guys?
It's solid. Let me be honest. I love Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson was the main generator of that entire Seahawks franchise. However, part of the reason they won that Super Bowl was the Legion of Boom, and you cannot deny they brought them there again and again. Mm-hmm. And the thing that they stopped investing in after they kept losing pieces of that was their defense. So I kind of like it. Bring in a guy that wants to bring in some fire. Bring in a guy that's proven I can play with the big boys. Bring in a guy that has a fun name. Like, what's happening?
Oh, we're good.
What are you going to do with what's there, And I think having a guy named Sauce is going to be really great to help that franchise. Luke, would you take Gardner or would you have taken an O-lineman?
I just think there might have been some more pressing needs. Mm-hmm. I actually think, if you're going to take a cornerback, I think there might have even been some more, what do you think? Some other players on the board that might have suited it a bit better. You have Derek Stingley out of LSU, who was very, very good. And people I think are a bit higher on him than who we have here. But I think I probably might have taken Charles Cross. I do think they probably needed to, again, all I am seeing across the entire league is a premium on quality offensive linemen, because we're seeing it that it's a recurring theme across the entire NFL that you need to be able to protect your man. You need to be able to protect your QB when you have players like the Bosa brothers, Chase Young. Now you have Thibodeau and Hutchinson, who are now just entering the league, who are going to be terrors. You need to be able to protect your dude. And so those guys are at a premium. I probably would have taken Charles Cross, but ultimately, I do think this pick is pretty solid.
Yeah, for sure. I think who is on the clock? The New York Jets on the clock. Their pick is in. The New York Jets, with the 10th overall pick in this draft, they're going to select Trayvon Walker, defensive end out of Georgia. He's really been rising up the draft boards lately. A guy that can do it all. Really a hidden piece, a hidden gem on this Georgia defense. And there's so many that will get drafted and probably pretty soon here. But, covering Tank Bigsby, like this guy is crazy athletic. He's one of the freakiest of freaks. 6'5", 275, 6 sacks in 21. He played D-tackle. He played defensive end. On passing downs, he'll probably slide in right next to Quentin Williams, be right next to him, and on running downs, first, second down, he can be on the edge. They haven't had a really good defensive end in a while. We know that to pair someone up with Quentin Williams is ultimately what they need, and the game is won on the line of scrimmage with their first pick, and now this pick, Trayvon Walker. It's getting better up front, and Robert Saleh with the 49ers, they were just known for getting their defensive line right. And they had Kinlaw, they had Bosa, they had Armstead. They had all these guys that really just made their whole defense was on that defensive line, and that is their thinking here with Trayvon Walker. With that being said, the Commanders are now on the clock.
I'm still not used to that name, but
I am not either.
Oh,
Eleanor James.
hello.
Hello.
I'm here to make the pick for Carson's Commanders. So I was thinking about if Willis made it down, grabbing him and giving Carson the Jalen Hurts treatment all over again. A little higher of a pick, but I think that's probably something they're not looking to do this year. Probably going to stock up on some pieces, and when Carson probably doesn't work out again, they'll go for someone next year. He might push him out of the quarterback range next year like he has with the Colts, but I think they'll just wait and see. They go a lot of different directions. I was looking at receivers, looking at defensive backs. For a minute there, I was even thinking of springing for a linebacker. I know that's really high for a linebacker, but they do have Ron Rivera, Jack Del Rio there. Big linebacker guys looking for their key on the defense there with Collins gone and not really sure what they have in that Jamin Davis. Didn't really impress as much as they expected him to. But, he was a first-round pick, only a year in. I think they give him a little more time. So I'm actually going to lean to the offensive line. They have a few pieces there. Charles Leno's a decent left tackle. They got Cosme last year, did okay. Their center's pretty decent. Their guards are kind of no-name guys now with Scherf gone, or Sheriff, however you say it. I'm thinking one of those tackles can kick to guard, and I'm going to do a bit of a reach here, but I think he's kind of the old-school hog molly lineman that Washington needs back, and I'm going to go with Trevor Penning from UNI.
Oh,
I like it.
Interesting. I thought maybe you would have went Charles Cross here.
That's what I thought.
Or Linderbaum.
Well, I didn't really expect him to be there, and I just kind of think the demeanor of Penning, the nastiness that he seems to have, kind of redefine that line for him.
Yeah.
And you're right. That does kind of scream Washington, too.
Yeah, I mean, he seems like a weird dude, so it makes sense to be with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, Carson Wentz, even if he does have protection, he doesn't really use it. However, I mean, Caleb Gibson's officially running back number one now, and with Trevor Penning in front of him, I mean, hopefully Carson can get it to his other Commanders. And
If Curtis Samuel comes back strong,
yes.
Who knows?
Yeah. Definitely a lot of needs for Washington for sure. But it all starts up front, and they got Trevor Penning, who is now on the clock. The Minnesota Vikings are now on the clock.
Yes, they are.
All right.
Thank you, Steven.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Minnesota Vikings. That was interesting. Trevor Penning. I did not see that coming at all. But
I did not see that coming at all. Yeah, no.
But teams fall in love with guys. Like, it happens every year. We rate these guys higher than some other teams do. And when they look at the tape, when they look at their whole body of work, I mean, they fall in love with guys. And I mean, Trevor Penning has definitely risen up draft boards of late. So it makes a lot of sense from that standpoint. The Minnesota Vikings are taking a while in reality because they have Kirk Cousins who are paying like $40 million a year, and is he the long-term guy? Probably not. Their offensive line needs some work. Their whole defense really needs some work.
Yeah, no. I am actually looking at the work of, let's see, hold on, Derek Stingley. I'm surprised he's still on the board. And if I were picking for the Vikings at this point, I probably might take him. You need someone, I think, on that back end to lock down. I mean, it's like if you are in a division with Aaron Rodgers, we can talk about, how good he is in the postseason. But if we're talking regular season, if you're going to be in a division with Aaron Rodgers, you need someone who's going to be able to be locked down. And I think, Derek Stingley probably has the X factor to be able to do that, at least enough to maybe keep some of those very talented wide receivers locked down.
Okay, so the pick is in for the Minnesota Vikings. And with the 12th pick in the NFL draft, the Minnesota Vikings are selecting Kenny Pickett, quarterback out of Pittsburgh. Kirk Cousins incumbent. Reminds me of Kirk Cousins quite a bit, actually.
Yeah.
Number 8, look at that.
Wow.
I actually didn't know if Kirk Cousins was number 8, but I know he did. 6'3", 220, really small hands, actually. I believe the team who interviewed him today wanted him to palm the football just to see if he could. That's pretty funny. But honestly, put up a lot of good stats this year, and probably is the most pro-ready quarterback in this draft. Does he have the highest ceiling of anyone? Personally, I don't think he does. Maybe, but it really seems like he's reached his peak. But the Vikings are really looking at a long-term answer, and they think that he can be better than Kirk Cousins, and getting him, who's probably just as good as Kirk Cousins coming out, but at a much cheaper contract for the next 4 years. That's what they want. They want to pay a guy as little as possible to do as much of the work as he can, so they can pay Dalvin Cook, so they can pay Justin Jefferson here pretty soon to get all these guys locked and loaded on that team. Really, they just need to get the ball to Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson, and that team will be just fine. Mm-hmm. That is what Kenny Pickett is here to do year one. They're excited in Minnesota. Fans around the nation aren't, but the Vikings are excited, and that's all that matters.
Right. Wow, that's definitely a spicy one.
Yeah.
So that leads us to Houston again. And
Houston sprung for they're trading Deshaun Watson to Cleveland. That increased the number of picks again that they have in the first round and in multiple rounds in the next few years. Let's just be honest. The state of the defense for the Houston Texans is in utter shambles. You're not going to be able to pick one guy in your secondary and be able to fix that problem. Kyle Hamilton is a great step in that direction, but now that you've got somebody on the back end, you need someone up front on that defensive line to kind of resurrect the role that J.J. Watt had for so long on that defensive line. And so with that said, the pick is in. The Houston Texans are going to select Jermaine Johnson, the edge rusher and defensive end out of Florida State. This dude is an absolute monster. He was ACC Defensive Player of the Year, 12 sacks, was a standout during the Senior Bowl, great length, great power, very good, can see the play happening. And he's rising quickly in draft circles right now. He's definitely on the upswing. Guys, what do you think about this pick?
I love it. Jermaine Johnson was actually on Georgia at one point and just really could not see the field as much. He had 4 sacks, I believe, with Georgia, which is fine, is good, but to really showcase his ability at Florida State, just what made the difference for him. He dominated the Senior Bowl. Every lineman that came his way, he just went around with ease, with his power, with his speed. He's really good at the power to speed or speed to power. He has all the tools that you want. He worked out at linebacker at the combine as well. So, really he is a true and natural pass rusher. And Houston Texans, whether they run 3-4, 4-3, he can fit outside linebacker. He can fit defensive end. It's a slam dunk pick for the Texans. They're really rebuilding their defense with 2 guys that really could be studs from day one.
I like it. Well, thank you everyone for joining us for this. It is going to be a bit longer than we expected. That's okay. But you've reached the best part of the mock draft as we're going to talk about the Baltimore Ravens. If you've missed everything up to this point, that's okay. Welcome to the real podcast. I'm kidding. I wanted to be funny for a minute, and that was my moment. Hey, you know what? Baltimore never gets it right, and that's okay. Because Baltimore always picks defense before anything else. And I could mention needs on the O-line. I could mention needs in the receiver core. I could mention potential needs in the running back room, depending on who stays and who's healthy next year. There are a lot of needs. However, I think we all know they're going to go for a defensive guy. Look, Calais Campbell is getting old. I'm not 100% sure what their option is post Campbell. Let's just go ahead and be honest here and mention that they're going to pick somebody that is going to anchor that defense. And the best guy that I can think to do that would have to be Jordan Davis out of Georgia. The pick is in, and the pick is monstrous. 6'6", 340. My man runs 4.78 at 340 pounds. If he is not being selected here, anyone else that gets him is a steal, but it just feels like a Baltimore level pick. Kyle, is this a steal, or am I just being reachy as a Baltimore fan?
No, it's not a steal at all. I mean, this guy, Chris Jenkins, like maybe even a more athletic Haloti Nada. We didn't see as much from him because he was only on the field like a quarter, 33% to 40% of the time. And you can make a case that, he should have gone higher, or you could have made a case he should have gone lower because he didn't play as much as you want your D tackle to play. But ultimately, I mean, he ran a sub 5 at 340 pounds. That's insane. He's going to be able to rush the passer. He's going to be able to take on 2 blockers at a time. Whatever you want him to do, I fully believe he's going to do. And he has all the makeup, all the tools, all the athleticism to be one of the best D tackles in this league. A different D tackle, I would describe him as a unicorn. Like, there's not many like him. But really, yeah, you could play him at nose tackle. But if you want to play him as a Calais Campbell kind of guy, I mean, I think he could do that. I really do. Like, whatever job you wanted Campbell to do, I think Jordan Davis could do it. He has all the tools to become not only a good run stuffer, but a really good pass rusher as well. This is a slam dunk pick. I mean, they wanted to retool that defensive line a little bit, and you might have gotten potentially one of the best guys in this draft to do it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Now the Philadelphia Eagles are on the clock.
Yep. Let me get them in here.
This is the Miami pick, I believe, that they traded for.
Yes, it is.
Nice.
Whoa.
Hello.
Welcome.
I did not feel like messing with the webcam today, but
That's all good.
It's all good.
So, am I thinking like Howie Roseman in this situation, or am I thinking like an Eagles fan in this situation? Because if I'm thinking like Howie Roseman, we need to find the wide receiver that will be drafted in the 3rd round and make him the 16th overall selection next. And we need to pick the 3rd round offensive lineman here on the 15th pick. But anyway.
Coming with the spice today.
I digress. So we are going to pick the bona fide stud and pair him with his Alabama partners and go with Jamison Williams. Who cares if he has a torn ACL? Because as the Philadelphia Eagles, you are rebuilding. You are trying.
Ethan, I'm supposed to be a Ravens fan. Don't do this to me.
I was so hoping to maybe even get Jordan Davis as well there with the 15th and 16th pick to build that defensive line. Yes, the offensive line is aging. Yes, the cornerbacks and the safeties are terrible. This is the life of an Eagles fan. But you cannot win games without the explosive offense, as you can see with the Chiefs, as you can see with the Bengals, as you can see with the Buccaneers, with everybody. Everybody has explosive weapons. The Bengals chose to forego Penei Sewell last year for Jamar Chase, which I thought at the time was a terrible decision because I thought maybe Joe Burrow would re-tear his ACL because of no protection. I do like the Leo Collins pickup because he needs that protection. The Eagles are going to do the same here and go out and get a stud wide receiver who may not start the season, but he will be a fantastic match with Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith.
That is a home run pick. I love that. And not I mean, beyond being biased, obviously, but seriously, you're not kidding. Hurts needs all the help he can get. Yeah, he won't be there right away. I know he's on track to potentially be around in the beginning of the year. But you're right. He's explosive, and that's what they need. And Devontae is great. But if you can have two explosive receivers just making defenses play them honestly, you're going to win a lot more games.
Yeah. As someone who watched Jameson Williams before he went to the dark side, you're going to this dude is a speed demon of speed demons. He's going to take the top off of some of NFL defenses once he comes back and is healthy. He's a great deep threat. He's going to make people. He's going to break ankles. This dude is legit, and I think it's great pairing him with someone like Hurts because Hurts going to need him.
Especially getting him at this spot in the draft, I was expecting him to be gone in the top 10, even with the torn ACL, so the idea was maybe Garrett Wilson or Chris Olave. Getting this guy at this pick is just fantastic for their future.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, you're back on the clock, Eagles. You have your pick.
So with his second pick, do you go center and get Jason Kelsey's heir apparent? Do you go with Tyler Linderbaum there? Do you go with David Ojabo to get that edge, even though he's the fourth or fifth guy at edge in the draft class? And I'm a Michigan fan, so come on home. But I think that as much as they have missed on corner and safety picks in the past, they take another corner here with Derek Stingley out of LSU.
Oh. Excellent pick.
I believe in the preseason, before the college football season started, he was projected in the top 5, top 10 picks. So getting this guy here, once again, tremendous upside. Couldn't go wrong there.
Yeah, can't really go wrong with an LSU corner. Seems to work out, or really anybody on the LSU defense. Definitely a ball hawk type of guy. I mean, the last couple of years were kind of down for him, but he has all the traits that you want. Opposite Darius Slay too, that could be pretty nasty, assuming Darius Slay is as good as he was last year and the year before that. So you really have two different types of corners. I'd probably put Stingley a little bit closer to a Diggs kind of guy from the Cowboys. I mean, he probably won't give up 900 yards a year like Diggs did, but very different than Darius Slay, but also just crazy athletic, gets his hands on a lot of balls, and will get turnovers for the Eagles, who really are not prone to getting turnovers. They had a tough job of doing that this year. So great pick, great value pick as well. I mean, he really slid quite a bit, but I think they're happy to get him at 16. Ethan, you can stay on, or we can kick you off and bring you back on. You know what? We'll kick you off, bring you back on really quick at pick 19. Just stay ready. Thank
I'll
you.
Be here.
The Chargers are on at 17. They are on the clock.
Okay, so for this, the Chargers are looking at the board, and they look at what their main asset is on their team, and that is Justin Herbert. And they want to make sure that that man is protected, that man is clean, and that he can keep diming for them for a long time in that pocket. And so they are looking at the board, and they are cackling with glee that this player is still here. And so the pick is in. The Chargers are going to take Charles Cross, the offensive tackle out of Mississippi State. This dude, he's an athlete. He's flexible. He's quick. He played in an air raid system of offense, so definitely more pass heavy. And with a team like Justin Herbert's, you're going to have a lot of that. He's more of a pass protector than someone who plays the run really well. But hey, for the Chargers, that's going to be a fantastic strength of his.
Yeah.
And so guys, I think this is a quality pick. I'm more than happy to receive feedback.
Yeah, no, it's
No, I
excellent.
love that.
Absolutely. I mean, they addressed quite a bit in free agency, but not at the offensive tackle position. If you can get Rashawn Slater last year and Charles Cross this, I mean, that's two bona fide. I mean, I think this guy could last 10 years in the NFL. That's a home run. When they really improved their whole defense, I mean, you got Mike Williams back. You know you have an Austin Eckler to provide Justin Herbert with an amazing center and Lindsey last year, Rashawn Slater, and now Charles Cross. I mean, they are letting it be known that they are trying to win a Super Bowl this year because Charles Cross can definitely step in right away and protect Justin Herbert. And he's not even on the left side. He's on the right side, right tackle, probably a little bit of an easier job. So, yeah, it's really incredible. So got to love that pick. Who is on the clock now? I believe it is the New Orleans Saints.
Yep.
They're deliberating for a while. The Saints, they're a dumpster fire, to be honest. They are. I mean, to go after Deshaun Watson, to go after all these guys, to lose out on Michael Thomas, he doesn't want to be there anymore. He's made that known. Alvin Kamara might be in prison. Who knows? We know they have a good offensive line. It's one of their strengths. But they really need to rebuild, retool. Dennis Allen is their head coach now. He's more a defensive kind of guy. But really, it's going to come down to looking at their division. Falcons have nobody. The Panthers, yes, they got Malik Willis, right, earlier in this draft. But
yes.
The Buccaneers franchise has about a couple more years left with Tom, and they're done. They want to build right now. They like their guy, and that is quarterback Matt Corral. The pick is in, out of Ole Miss. Really an athletic type of guy, can run the read option, can do a little bit more than Drew Brees from the running game. But, he might not have the most live arm, as you can see, above average. But he's accurate, and he's mobile. He makes pretty good decisions. Only threw 5 picks this year. And a very tough guy to lead that New Orleans team. So what do you guys think of this pick?
It's solid. The Saints desperately need a number one guy. Winston's okay. But, I'll never get over the guy through 30 picks in one season. That's pretty atrocious. And Taysom Hill will never be that man for the Saints. Who's the guy from Notre Dame? Help me out here. Ian Book.
Yeah.
I don't think Book is going to be an option either. Matt Corral could come in and start fighting with Winston for QB1. Week 2, week 3 of training camp, I think. If he proves he can learn the offense and he's more accurate than Winston, which won't take much. So I don't know. I like it. I do, but I might be biased just because I think Matt Corral is a really good quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, did he give Alabama tears at all, or was he just kind of?
He sure did. Yeah. Because it's always those mobile quarterbacks that tend to freak us out. And he does. He runs the option really, really well. And even better, like you had kind of said, if Kamara comes back, if you can run Matt Corral and Kamara and not know who's going to go where and what direction they're going to go and where the ball's, that's pretty threatening. That's pretty threatening. Winston can't do that.
Yeah. We did get Jameis Winston back 2 years, but that's a stopgap. He's a Band-Aid. He's a guy that can be there while Matt Corral develops. But he's not going to be the long-term answer. I think he has ability, We've seen that. He does have a good arm. He is mobile, but like long-term answer, I don't think he's the guy. I really don't. So
I agree.
let's move on to the Philadelphia Eagles. I believe are back on the clock, and we can bring our man back in here for pick number 19.
So at pick 19, there are a lot of good options on the board here. Originally, was thinking edge with Ojabo here, the injury, Tyler Linderbaum, yeah. I was even tempted to go Chris Olave and draft 2 firsts. Just because.
If you did that, I'd become an Eagles fan.
Because the audacity of what they put out on the field for Carson Wentz. Just you don't want to do that again. But we are going to do something the Eagles have not done in almost 40 years, which is take a linebacker in the first round with Devin Lloyd.
Nice.
The last time that they drafted a linebacker in the first round was 1979.
Oof.
Which is just ridiculous. They don't respect the position. Devin Lloyd is an absolute monster. He can play pass protection. He can blitz. He can play the run. He can do everything. The other option here was Nakobe Dean. I just think that Devin Lloyd offers more in pass protection than Nakobe Dean does. Nakobe Dean was more of a primary blitzer for Georgia, so I think Devin Lloyd is the pick that they go with here. Actually, no, I don't. I don't think they draft a linebacker. I think they continue that run of not drafting linebackers, but I think this is their need. Even though they just signed Hassan Reddick, I believe that they just have needed that position for so long, as well as wide receiver. They just take Devin Lloyd here in this pick, and they end up addressing running back later on with James Cook. So
I like that.
Yeah, for the love of God, Howie, we need. Yeah, we do. Love that.
Yeah.
I would have been happy with the Kobe Dean as well, honestly, because just from athletic standpoint, these two guys are just way better in what they have. But you're right, Devin Lloyd does offer a little bit more than Nakobe Dean in pass coverage. 8 sacks, 4 interceptions as well. He got a lot of pass breakups in the middle of the field for the Utah defense, and he really did it all. Really good leader as well. And my comp was Devin White. So if he can become Devin White for the Philadelphia Eagles, I mean, we know their defensive line got a little bit better, but if you can get a stud in the middle as well, I mean, that just makes their whole defense much better, which they need. They need young talent for sure. Thanks for hopping on, Ethan. Appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Awesome. Really good draft for the Eagles, getting Devin Lloyd, getting Jameson Williams, getting Derek Stingley. Really good value at all picks, I would say. Pittsburgh Steelers are on the clock. Unfortunately, his computer in our StreamYard did not mesh up quite well.
Oh.
That's unfortunate. Bummed about that. But he does have a pick. His pick is in. Definitely different from where I thought he'd go. But I love this pick, and he's going to select Daxton Hill, the corner or safety out of Michigan. And here's his blurb. He said he replaces Edmonds. He is a slot kind of guy, has the traits, measurables, Steelers like in their safeties. He thought about receiver, but thinks they're going to wait. They filled a lot of needs of free agency. They were there at his pro day. They don't really draft players in the first round. You know, if both of Tomlin and their GM Colbert aren't there, this is a sleeper kind of pick, but he thinks it's a pick the Steelers are willing to make. And I love this pick, honestly, because Daxton Hill, if you watch him, he a little bit different than Minka for sure. But I think you would say even Minka can do quite a bit for that Steelers defense. Daxton Hill probably could play all 5 positions for the Steelers on the back half of their secondary. He runs down every play. He's super fast, very intelligent. I liken him to Malcolm Jenkins. I think he's faster than Malcolm Jenkins was coming out of Ohio State, but really the do-it-all type of secondary piece that the Steelers want. And we know their corners, they really haven't had a long-term answer there in a while. So if he can lock down one of those corner positions for the time being, and then eventually move to safety, I mean that's a home run kind of pick. I think. What do you guys think for this pick on the Steelers?
It's different than what I have seen in some mocks. It's different than what I would have imagined. But you know what? That secondary has to be strong because now you're going to deal with Lamar. Now you're going to deal with Joe Burrow. Now you're going to deal with Deshaun Watson. You got to stop the pass somewhere.
Yeah.
Like you're really playing against three of some of the best quarterbacks we've seen in the past how many years. That's going to be dangerous. I think it's a good pick. Good luck. Good luck stopping those quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's how you do it. I mean, honestly, that's how you do it is you got to improve your secondary. I mean, their pass rush is – we know it's pretty darn good already, but, I mean, to really make that even better is to have lockdown corners, lockdown safeties, waiting in the wing and picking off those passes when those rushers get there.
Yeah.
Patriots are now on the clock. New England Patriots have done a lot of things. Just kidding. They really didn't do anything. They never really do anything in free agency, honestly. They probably go after another running back like they usually do. Their receiver is a little bit bare. Look, you're on the clock.
Yeah, no. As I was looking over the Patriots, I couldn't help but notice that basically their defensive secondary is where I feel like they have the most holes. They could use another lockdown corner. They could use another lockdown safety. Just those kinds of things that keeps the ball in front of a team, in front of a defense, instead of letting it get behind them and letting the offense carve them up and eat large chunks of yardage down the field during the course of the game. And so the pick is in for the Patriots. They are going to take Andrew Booth Jr., the cornerback out of Clemson. First team All ACC, 5 career interceptions. He's got great hands. He's long and can contest the catch. He's physical and fast, and so really is kind of like a Swiss Army knife of cornerbacks in that he can fit into a lot of systems. There was some, how would you say, there were some questions on my part whether, okay, do you take Andrew Booth Jr. or do you take Trent McDuffie out of Washington? And I just feel like that extra height, that extra speed that I think Andrew Booth has serves him better in this system.
Yeah, I mean, and they lost J.C. Jackson to the Chargers in free agency. We know Stephon Gilmore was elite for him, but, he's in free agency. They don't want him back. They need to right that ship. They need to right that secondary. Honestly, I think Belichick can make any corner probably look better than what he is. But to get a talent like Andrew Booth, really, he could be a stud in New England. I really do think that. Like you said, height, weight, speed, measurables, it's all there. Also has very good hands. Should fit in most systems. And if you can fit in most systems, Bill Belichick will literally use any kind of system, any kind of way to get you on the field and make you productive. So, yeah, I think that's a home run pick for the New England Patriots. It really helps out need, and it's a good value pick as well. So with that being said, the Green Bay Packers are now on the clock.
They are. He's having some problems with his microphones, but my good friend Thomas, I haven't seen him in a long time. Sad that trend will continue for a while. But there were a couple guys at work that I would go to over Packer stuff. I feel like last year we would just talk about all the time, what is Rodgers doing? Where was Rodgers going? What are they going to do with him? And just for him to just kind of decide this year, I'm going to come back anyways, just kind of felt like, wah. And then they traded his favorite target. And I was like, they're stupid. They're so stupid. Why are you doing this? Like, you're going to make him mad. He's going to leave. But apparently he knew about it all along. So with that being said, the pick is in for the Packers, and they desperately need another guy to help Rodgers. It's going to be Chris Olave. Look, I like Garrett Wilson. I do. Olave had a better combine than even I think people expected, because I think everyone expected Wilson to be the number one guy. But Olave had a sneaky good combine. His unofficial time was 4.26. That's blazing. That is like there's like flames coming like from behind him as he's running. He's like Ghost Rider. And you know he is and I had to bring this up. He's very much of a Swiss Army knife kind of receiver. He does a little bit of everything. And I love this, and I had to say it. He is an explosive play waiting to happen. And if you are Aaron Rodgers, you're going to be looking for that every play. Olave is perfect here. Thanks, buddy. That's I love it. As soon as you said what that was, I was like, yep, I'm on board. That's a great pick for them. I hope that the brass will be smart enough to actually pick that. But we'll see. I'm not convinced that the upper management is going to do the right thing where that's concerned. That would put the Cards on the board next. I know who I want here, but I have to think about it because there's two teammates. Do you know who I'm going for? I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, go ahead. There's two teammates, and they both play the same position, and there's been a lot of like back and forth on is this going to be the guy? Is this not going to be the guy? I think we can put it all to bed at this point. The pick is in, and I've got to be honest with you. It has to be. Well, we'll get there. I think it's Trent McDuffie, and I need my cheat sheet here in a second.
You are looking for, I think, slide 18.
We got it. So he's a little small. He's a little undersized for what I would expect as a corner. But he's a track star, which means he can do that sideline to sideline so fast. And he's really versatile. I'd known that. Oh, I guess that's written on there too. That's good. For a little guy, like he seems to be one of the most explosive players on Washington's defense. And what's even crazier is he made his other teammate look so good, and they were both so competitive with each other that now both of them are being looked at in the first round. Like this is where you could flip a coin on either one of them, and I think you win. Washington corners, for the most part, in the NFL have performed really well. This feels like kind of a slam dunk for the Cards. I know there's a lot of people out there that are mocking receivers here. Why? Like even if you do lose a receiver or two, you had too many to begin with. That's an okay problem to have. You re-sign James Conner. Running back isn't going to be an issue. Kyler Murray is coming back. You guys buried the axe with whatever that was. Your O-line's okay. You've got a lot of stuff going on. I think you'll be okay. And McDuffie just fits that bill.
For sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Next on the clock, welcome, Pat, Dallas Cowboys. Now, Pat, can you tell people who's your team?
So I am my team actually has 3 names in the past few seasons, so you can already take a guess, right? So Commander Wentz.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's kind of ironic that I picked the Cowboys because I was telling Kyle, you guys didn't have a kicker in the first round, or else we would have just went ahead and went with that first round. I feel like they wouldn't mind because he didn't really like Greg the Leg too much. He wasn't very consistent for him. But thanks for having me here, guys. So I went ahead and picked. I was nice. I picked Kenyon Green, Texas A&M. With some of they cut Collins pretty recently. They have a few shuffles up in the offensive line, and to be honest, their offensive line has been known to be pretty elite the past few seasons. They've kind of regressed a little bit, so I think this is a time for them to, kind of relock and load that position. He's a very athletic offensive lineman. That coming out of the draft here, he seems like an elite guard, unfortunately. But I think he'll kind of be a good, counterbalance for some of the, stronger defensive lines, that are in the NFC East. So I kind of hope he tears his ACL game 1. I'm joking. I don't wish that for anybody, but I feel like the Cowboys, even if he ends up being an All-Pro, like what was last year, Micah Parsons, they hit a home run on, like they still choke in the playoffs round 1. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for.
It won't matter. They get the greatest players in the world, and then they can't make it anyway. So
what a wonderful impact you've had in 2 minutes. If you'd like to come back, please feel free to do so.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Yeah, always down for this.
Cool. Well, nice to meet you, man. Let's hope the Cowboys don't pick anything good. I don't have to play them in the division, but I don't like them anyways. So I think we'll be set there.
Thanks, Pat.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Sure. Yeah, I love that pick for them. They got rid of Leo Collins, like they just said, to the Bengals. Tyron Smith, extremely old, won't be around forever. And then Connor Williams, who was their draft pick out of Texas a few years back, he got signed elsewhere. Once a strength, now probably a weakness. And it seems like they are dependent on Michael Gallup becoming a superstar. I'm not so sure it's going to happen even before an ACL. Like, I think he's good, but not that good. I think the run game is still something they desperately need to work on and something they need for Dak Prescott. So Kenyon Green will definitely help that, and he can step in right away and for sure be productive for the Dallas Cowboys. Like that pick for them. Now on the clock, we have the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I've got the Bills.
Nice.
Yeah, if you're Buffalo, you had such a disappointing way to end your season. And a lot of people will blame the defense, and I agree. But you could go a couple different routes here, and I think the best route to move forward would have to be an O-lineman, strangely enough. I'm going to go Zion Johnson. Look, we all can agree that Josh Allen is the entire reason that Bills organization is anywhere where it is right now. This is the same thing with Joe Burrow. You got a young guy, you got to protect him. If you protect him, he'll keep producing. Let's also talk about the Bills. Their run game is atrocious.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's you just haven't found the right guy or what, but it starts with really good run blocking. It starts with really good a better way to get them involved too. So part of this is on the offensive coordinator. But I am going to say, look, Zion Johnson, we've talked about, is probably one of the most flexible players as a offensive lineman, as he could play tackle, he could play guard, he could kind of go wherever. And you put it there, and that's why I picked him. His best work is in the run game. And if you need that, I mean, think about it. Also, Josh Allen runs an insane amount as a quarterback. So if you can get somebody to come in there and shove people out of the way, make it a little more clear and safer for him to slide, get him where he needs to go, this is the way to do it, is to just keep investing in an O-line. So that would be the end of my discussion. Anybody have any thoughts on that one?
I love it. I mean, as the Titans are getting ready to come on the board here, I love it. Like you said, the run game is atrocious. I don't know if it is Devin Singletary. I don't know if it is Zach Moss. But what I do know is, like, you need to be a well-rounded team, I think, to beat the Chiefs, which they could not do. To make that game a little bit more winnable, I mean, to run the ball successfully, you could have taken time off the clock. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not just – you don't always have to outscore the Chiefs. Like, you need to run the ball a little bit, take the time down, get it going, and they couldn't do that. It was just big play after big play. Josh Allen scrambling for his life, making big-time throws. If they had a run game, they could have shortened that game and won that game. So, and that all starts at the offensive line position. Zion Johnson, a lot of people love him. Surprised he fell to this pick, but the Bills are definitely jumping up and down with this pick, and they're excited.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no. All right, so with the Titans on the clock, they are taking their sweet time because they've really narrowed it down to two guys. They definitely want a wide receiver. They want a weapon that can go out and catch balls, can be fast, can be big, can bring the ball down for them. They're just, I went back and forth about who I would want out of this class because once you get past the Ohio State guys, whether they stayed there the course of their collegiate career or moved to the dark side, then once you're past those three guys, then then it starts to get a little bit harder picking guys going forward. However, The pick is in. The Titans are going to select Treylon Burks out of Arkansas.
Nice.
This dude is a monster in and of himself. I was able to watch him play during the Arkansas-Alabama game. I watched that on television. But to see this dude, I mean, I think he was even hurt while he was playing. He was not 100% during this game, but he still was incredible in this game. And Brad, if you watch this game, I think you would agree.
Yeah, he was terrifying.
Yeah, no, this dude, I mean, he's got large hands, deceptively fast, sneaky fast, and fluid. Mostly slot experience, but you had some of the wide out. Again, like most wide receivers, just need to focus on improving concentration during catches, especially when it's contested. But no, I think this dude has the potential to grow and develop into a sneakily good wide receiver.
Yeah, and I mean, he played a lot of out of the backfield too at Arkansas. So he's not just going to be a one-trick pony. They're not just going to stick him out wide and let him run. They should hopefully get the ball in his hands in a myriad of ways. So can you imagine a backfield of him and Derrick Henry? Like, oh, which way are they going to go? Are they going to give it to Derrick Henry? He's going to run me over. Or are they going to give it to Treylon Burks, who's going to outrun me? And then you have Robert Woods on the outside and A.J. Brown. Ryan Tannehill cannot win them all these games. He can't because it's Ryan Tannehill. So what do? Just give it to your playmakers. And you keep adding playmaker after playmaker. It's really a nasty offense with Burks, Henry, A.J. Brown, and Robert Woods, who they just traded for. And he can develop into a very good receiver, I think, down the road. But I think what you're looking at from year one is just finding a way to get the ball in his hands because he's going to make a lot of people miss, a lot of people look silly. He's going to be really good in year one for sure.
I like it. Well, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had a stroke of luck as Tom Brady decided he wasn't ready to hang it up, I guess. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and move down. I know exactly who I want, and I will explain why here in a second. Might take a second for it to load and pick up with me. The pick is in for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Almost no problem selecting here. They're going to take Breece Hall, the running back. I'll explain. This guy is everything that Leonard Fournette was supposed to be, mixed with what people think Saquon is. Like, you can't find a running back like this. And I think if he manages to go to the second round or third round, he's going to be a steal no matter where he goes. I'm not sold that he's going to go that far.
Yeah.
I think if you are the Buccaneers, you're not sure about Fournette. You're not sure about anyone on that roster. You're not sure about Giovanni Bernard. You're not sure about Robert Jones. Like, you're not – if you're not sold on a running back, you need a guy. And if you want to pick a guy, talk about the guy that everyone talked about after the combine and said he is insane. He's better than David Montgomery, which was the other Iowa State guy. He could be the next Jonathan Taylor. He was on pace with Jonathan Taylor for what he ran at the combine. Yeah. Like, this is not a he should go like round 5, round 6. No, he needs to be talked about. And the Buccaneers need all kinds of help around Brady because you know what? We need to admit Brady is not the guy that's going to carry the whole game and team at this point. Brady is there as a compliment. Brady succeeds in Tampa Bay because they have those receivers around him. Brady succeeds because that defense is fantastic. Brady succeeds because he could hand off to Leonard Fournette all the time. He succeeds because they built a really good team around him. And the best way to do that, if Fournette says, yeah, I'm out, if playoff Lenny is out, you need to bring in somebody. And I am contending that it has to be Breece Hall if you want to win another Super Bowl.
Yeah, if you think about it, running backs are really not at a premium in this draft. And people don't – well, some people like the Giants or Leonard Fournette, guys like that, McCaffrey even, pick them early. But you really can't build a team around a running back. What running backs are now are complementary kind of pieces. And you really should only draft them when you're ready to win a Super Bowl. The Bucs are ready to win a Super Bowl. And they don't have any desperate needs, long term that they can be like, oh, this is our guy of the future. They don't care about the future. Screw the future. They want to win now. And Breece Hall really gives them an added dimension. Because, like you said, Tom Brady can't do it all, and I feel like at his age, they probably should rely on the run a little bit more than they did last year. Yes. And Breece Hall is an every down type of back. Like Fournette was pretty good out of the backfield catching the ball. He was. And I'm surprised he hasn't been picked up yet in free agency. But to get a little bit younger version of that guy, a little bit more speed probably, Breece Hall can really do it all. And really his combine numbers are off the chart. I mean,
insane.
It's not being talked about enough,
No.
It's pretty incredible what he did, especially at Iowa State too. Like it's not that big of a school. Not many guys come from there. So to do what he did is truly impressive. I love that pick. Probably a little bit of a reach, but guess what? They can do that because they're ready to win. Like that's what you do when you're ready to win a Super Bowl. You pay that first rounder for Matt Stafford, or you pay that second rounder for Von Miller. Like you go a little bit heavy just because these are impact players and you want to win. So that makes a lot of sense. The Packers are now on the clock.
They are. I am scrolling to get my player up here. He had to go. He couldn't quite get his stuff to work correctly.
Okay.
But he did give us this pick. He's a super nice guy. So sad he couldn't really be on with us live. But I like both of his picks. I really do. And I think the second one kind of nails it because we've talked about him as like that fringe first round guy. And truthfully, he's a terror. And I saw it up front. Well, not up front and personal, but in front of my TV, if that counts.
He was in front of his television.
But look, DeMarvin Leal is an absolute monster. And you want to talk about the Packers needed a receiver. They got that. Great. You've gone out. Now you're going to help Rodgers. But the only other good way to help Rodgers and push for a Super Bowl at this point, because you've lacked a couple years now getting there, is your defense. I would blame the defense and special teams a lot. But special teams you can get later. I'm not worried about that in the first round. Neither is he. But DeMarvin Leal, he's scary. He's so scary. Like when I saw him, like the two guys I respected the most this year were Nakobe Dean and DeMarvin Leal. And I will tell you what, for what the Packers need, DeMarvin Leal kind of feels like a steal here. 8.5 sacks, 58 tackles. You're right. He was arrested in December. I don't look. Let's jump off a sidetrack here for a minute. Deshaun Watson had 22 allegations against him and walked away from it. I don't think being arrested is going to stop him from being drafted.
No.
Especially.
I mean, look at Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield had a bit of a rap sheet too.
Yeah,
I think he accumulated in college.
I don't think it matters, but if you want that hybrid player, this guy fits the bill. I love it. I just really love this pick because I get it. They need somebody that can be all over the place enforcing pressure in that division.
Yeah, and they love drafting defensive linemen.
Yes.
Like when they got Rashawn Gary, like that was a big pickup for them. I think they got Kenny Clark pretty early as well, if I remember, and he's pretty good for them. Like they like those hybrid type of defensive tackles. They like even Zadarius Smith, who's a free agent now, who might sign with the Ravens. We're not sure quite yet, but like he's not solely and truly just a pass rusher. Like they like hybrid guys who can kind of do everything. They can mix and match them. They re-signed Rasul Douglas. That's good at corner. They have Darnell Savage, and they have Adrian Amos at safety. Jair Alexander is one of the best corners in the league. But they really do love adding defensive line depth, and pass rushers. And Leal, like you said, fell quite a bit earlier in this year. I would say he was mocked top 15. So to get him at 28 is definitely a steal. Love that pick. And I believe the last Texas A&M defensive lineman that was drafted in the first round was Myles Garrett, I believe. So, they produce some freaks over there for sure.
They do.
The Miami Dolphins are now on the clock at pick 29. Miami is a little bit in a flux, honestly. They are not sure about their quarterback position. Their defense kind of was underwhelming last year, but to really get anything done, you need to be able to run the ball, and you need to be able to protect Tua or whoever their quarterback will be in the future. They are surprised and very happy that he is still on the board, but they're going to go at pick 29, Tyler Linderbaum, center out of Iowa. This man can easily play guard as well, a little bit undersized, but it does not matter because he makes up with it with his quickness, with his speed, very good with his hands as well, good strike. Reminds me of Jason Kelsey a lot because Kelsey was very much undersized when he came out. Center is really not the type of position that you pick early. It seems like a lot of teams wait for that, but we look at last year, Creed Humphrey for the Chiefs. I believe he was an all-pro or a pro bowler. Landon Dickerson, center out of Alabama, he moved to guard for the Eagles. Instant impact for them. It's not at a premium, but like once you have a good one, you're set for the next 12 years. And a center, a really good one, can provide like your average left or right guards to become like better, just because the middle of the defense is that well stocked with knowledge, with athleticism, with speed, and they really need help everywhere on that offensive line, and Linderbaum can definitely do that for them. So,
I like it.
All right. The Chiefs are on the clock, and if I am the Chiefs, I'm kind of going back and forth a little bit because this is a team that loves building its offense and it loves giving Patrick Mahomes weapons to use. However, they've already been doing that a bunch. And so I feel like they could definitely use some help on the defensive side of the ball, especially on that D line. There is a prospect on this board that maybe perhaps for an injury that it has fallen down the board, but I think the Chiefs are willing to invest that time in making sure that he is healthy and that he is ready to go when he is, and he's going to be a terror when he is healthy. And so the Kansas City Chiefs are going to select David Ojabo. I think this dude is absolutely scary. Kansas City Chiefs. I got to see it and be depressed about it for a while. The one question I think that there are two questions surrounding David Ojabo, and that is how badly will the injury affect who he is after his recovery, and the second part of it is how much of his success was due to the success of Aiden Hutchinson on the other side of the line, because you could only double team so many people once you're on. If you're an O line, you either focus all of your attention on one, or you focus all of your attention on the other. And once you have two threats, it's like, well, now pick your poison. And I feel like that the poison was picked most of the time might have been an Ojabo. I think teams might have said, we'll let Ojabo beat us if we don't have to worry about Hutchinson. And so we will see how good Ojabo is. But I do think that for the sake of defense, the Kansas City Chiefs would be wise to take this guy up because he's a beast at this position in the draft.
I like it.
Yeah, and I believe their last good pass rusher with the Chiefs was Mr. Frank Clark, who I believe also went to Michigan. I feel like they're very similar type of players. Now how will the ACL impact him? I don't know. Also very young into his career. I believe this is only like his fourth or fifth year playing football. He's very young, very raw, but has all the talent that you want. Definitely a pure pass rusher. Needs some help in the run game for sure. But if you're waiting to let him just develop a little bit, then he might pan out for you. I mean, this guy was probably a top 15 pick if he didn't tear his ACL. So giving him at pick 30. And the Chiefs can wait. I mean, they can put up 40 a game. So their defense doesn't need to be elite right away.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
You can wait for him to develop a little bit, another year, and he should probably get in and be productive. Cincinnati Bengals are now on the clock.
They sure are. We've talked about the Bengals potentially being reachy with this pick because they failed to deliver in a pick that cost them the Super Bowl. And had we not been limited to certain people that we had, I almost didn't have the position that I wanted. But Ricci or not, the pick is in because they have to take an O lineman. And our guy that's left here is Petit Frere. However, he could go. We've talked about Bernhard Raymond a lot, Kyle, in some of our mock drafts. But Petit Frere almost brings the exact same thing here. Looking at him, he's 6'5", 315. That's sizable for a tackle. He's fast. He's flexible. He will need to work a little bit. Run blocking is going to be fantastic for them because A, Joe Burrow, we know, is a mastermind when it comes to scrambling. B, we also know that they have Joe Mixon back there, who is, I mean, he did a lot better than I expected him to this past year. So I don't think it'll hurt to go ahead and invest in that tackle. I think the question just is, who is that tackle going to be? For me, it just happens to be Petit Frere. But I'm really, really curious to know who in the world will be in that spot. But I think we can all agree it needs to be an offensive lineman.
Yeah,
agreed.
Petit Frere, I definitely think he has a lot of room to grow. And I think that's what the Bengals are taking here. Like, if he developed a little bit more sooner or he stayed another year, we'd probably be talking about him going earlier. He's a top 15 overall recruit, one of the best athletes at tackle. Ohio State has churned out some, I believe, offensive line the last 6 years. They've churned out at least one or two. You're kind of banking on his development at this point. And with the free agents that they did sign, with La'el Collins at tackle, La'el Collins has played guard. Ted Karras, Alex Kappa, kind of, you can maneuver him anywhere. Jonah Williams, I believe, is still there, but he also played guard at Alabama. Like, you have a lot of flexible pieces for the Bengals, which is good because, like, when injuries happen and you need someone to plug and play right away and anywhere, like, that's what you want, especially for the Bengals, who we know Burrow gets murdered. So you can really have a true tackle here and a very athletic one. And honestly, you can probably wait a half a year to a year out and let him develop a little bit. Definitely has all the traits that you want. You're just kind of waiting for that next step for him, but it could definitely come sooner rather than later.
I agree. All right. Well, then, Kyle, that leaves pick 32, the Detroit Lions. I think you're bringing home the train here by finishing with the team that your dad selected from. I thought that was kind of funny that you're kind of finishing out with that. So are they still deliberating? Do you know what's happening with this?
We know. They are very surprised, very happy that Mr. Nakobe Dean has called it pick 32. Very excited to take him here. Like Ethan said earlier, he is debating between Devin Lloyd and Nakobe Dean. Again, linebacker is not a draft pick that you pick super early. A lot of teams like to wait on them. But Nakobe Dean is definitely a top 20, top 15 talent. Probably the best player on that Georgia defense with his mind, his quickness, his ability to blitz. Even though he might not be elite in coverage, he's pretty close to being elite. He rarely misses. He's a for sure really good tackler. The Lions, I believe, got the man out of Purdue last year, Derek Barnes, and it's kind of a miss so far. They need a for sure guy in the middle of the defense. With them getting Thibodeau with the first pick, them drafting all D tackles last year. And we know Okuda, if he gets healthy, he's solid. Amani Oriarie is very good for them last year. So they're really retooling their defense quickly. And if you can get Nakobe Dean in the middle, the Butkus Award winner from last year, who can really be a stalwart, a big brain for their defense. That's a home run for them, getting two of these guys in the first round. And they can probably focus on offense in the next round. So I like it. A lot of good receivers still on the board if they want to go that route. But Nakobe Dean probably was not going to make it much further. So, yep, Nakobe Dean.
Sweet. I love it. Thank you, everybody that was a part today. We had lots of good friends with us. Lots of good times, lots of really interesting picks, things that I wouldn't have necessarily thought of, but it's excellent. And that's why we do these. Again, guys, like, subscribe, comment, follow, watch with us. Tell us.
Come on our next one.
Yeah, please
Yeah,
come
no,
on
it's
our
gonna be
next
fun.
live draft. But once again, I am Brad. This is Kyle and Luke, and we are signing off from our Mox with Jocks. See you guys.